The glass slipped from Michael's trembling hand and shattered against the marble floor of his luxurious Port Harcourt mansion. Before the echo faded, the bedroom door burst open. "Sir, are you all right?" Rose cried, rushing in barefoot. Her simple uniform was wrinkled, and her eyes were wide with worry as she hurried toward him. "Hello family, welcome back. Please take a moment to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. It truly means a lot to us. Don't forget to share it with your friends and loved ones and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. So sit back and relax as we dive into the story." "I'm fine," Michael rasped weakly, trying to wave her off. But his voice betrayed him. His chest tightened and a sharp pain shot through his ribs. He gasped, clutching his side. Rose supported him with gentle firmness. "You're not fine, sir. You've been coughing all week and barely eating. Let me call the doctor." "No," Michael insisted, forcing a weak smile. "Jennifer said she'd come by tonight. I don't want her seeing me like this." Rose bit her lip. She'd heard that name too many times. Jennifer, the woman who was rarely home, always on flights to Paris or Dubai, always posting filtered photos of champagne glasses on private jets. "Sir, with all due respect," Rose said softly, adjusting his pillow, "Madame Jennifer has been gone for 2 weeks. You need a doctor, not promises." Michael leaned back against the headboard, exhaustion washing over him. "She'll come," he murmured. "She always comes." Rose sighed quietly and fetched a damp towel, dabbing his forehead. The warmth of her touch startled him. Not because it was improper, but because it was real. Not the touch of someone after his money, but after his well-being. As his breathing steadied, Rose turned to pick up the broken glass. Her eyes wandered around the enormous bedroom. A room with everything money could buy, yet empty of love. The curtains were velvet, the bedding imported from Italy, yet the man lying there looked lonelier than anyone she'd ever seen. The door suddenly creaked open and expensive perfume filled the room. "Finally. I thought I'd suffocate in that traffic," Jennifer announced, tossing her designer bag onto the couch. Rose straightened quickly. "Good evening, ma'am." Jennifer barely glanced at her. "You're still here?" "Yes, ma'am. Mr. Michael hasn't been feeling well." "I can see that," Jennifer interrupted, walking to the mirror to fix her lipstick. "Michael, baby, what's this I'm hearing about you missing the meeting with the board?" Michael forced a smile. "Jennifer, I told you I've been feeling dizzy." "Dizzy?" She laughed lightly. "You can't be dizzy when investors are waiting. You're the face of Harcourt Holdings, not some sickly man." Rose's hand froze as she collected the glass shards. Her chest tightened with quiet anger. "I know," Michael said weakly. "I'll attend the next one." Jennifer sighed dramatically. "Baby, you know I'm only saying this because I care. You're strong. My billionaire." She paused. "Did you bring the medication I asked for?" Michael asked hopefully. Jennifer blinked. "I forgot. But I'll get it tomorrow." She scrolled through her phone. "Oh, and I'll need another 5 million naira tomorrow. There's this charity event in Abuja." Michael nodded tiredly. "Sure." Rose's heart twisted. He's dying in silence and she's asking for money. But would speaking up cost Rose everything she held dear? The mansion was eerily silent the next morning. Michael had woken feeling unusually weak. A strange heaviness pressed on his chest, making even breathing an effort. He tried to rise from bed, but his legs buckled beneath him. "Sir." Rose's voice trembled with alarm as she rushed in. She found him slumped on the floor, pale as ivory, beads of sweat rolling down his temples. His hand gripped the carpet, clawing at it as if it could anchor him to life itself. "Rose," he wheezed, barely able to speak. "I can't." Her heart stopped. She dropped to her knees beside him, holding him steady. "Sir, hold on. Stay with me." The sound of his uneven breathing filled the room. Rose pressed her hand against his forehead. Burning hot. Frighteningly high temperature. "I'm calling Dr. Adeyemi," she whispered, fumbling for her phone. Minutes later, the medical team filled the mansion. Dr. Adeyemi, a seasoned physician with a calm but firm demeanor, examined Michael quickly, checking vitals and murmuring to the nurses. "His pulse is weak, blood pressure dangerously low, oxygen saturation falling," the doctor muttered. "We need to get him to the hospital now." Rose's stomach churned. She held Michael's hand tightly as he was lifted onto the stretcher. His eyes fluttered open and he looked at her with fear and vulnerability. "Rose, I'm scared," he whispered. She forced a brave smile. "I'm here, sir. You'll be fine. I promise." Inside the emergency room at Lagos Memorial Hospital, the doctors worked swiftly. Monitors beeped urgently, Alarms screamed and tension filled the air. Blood tests revealed the first shocking truth. His blood group is AB negative, Dr. Adeyemi announced gravely. Extremely rare. There's no immediate donor on the registry. We might have to wait hours. Rose's heart skipped a beat. But I'm AB negative. The words slipped out before she could think. The doctor's head snapped up. You can donate? Yes, Rose whispered, barely meeting anyone's eyes. If it will save him. Dr. Adeyemi nodded quickly. We'll need to start immediately. Can you handle the procedure? Rose swallowed hard, her palms sweaty. Yes, whatever it takes. Michael, barely conscious, heard the conversation. Rose? He croaked weakly. You do that for me? She pressed his hand gently, fighting tears. Yes, sir. I won't let you go. He coughed violently. I don't deserve you, Rose. She shook her head firmly. Stop talking, sir. Focus on breathing. The medical team prepared Rose for the blood donation. Machines whirred, monitors beeped, and the sterile scent filled the room. Every second stretched like an eternity. Rose's hands trembled as the needle was inserted. Yet she felt a strange resolve. She would not let him die. Hours passed. Michael's breathing slowly steadied and color returned faintly to his cheeks. The monitors that had screamed alarms now beeped rhythmically. Dr. Adeyemi exhaled in relief. He's stable. The transfusion worked. She saved him. Rose's knees gave way. She sank beside Michael, exhausted but relieved. She brushed damp hair from his forehead. See? I told you you'd be fine. Michael's eyes opened slowly. He looked at her as if seeing her for the first time. Rose? He whispered hoarsely. You saved me. Just then, high heels clicked against the floor. Jennifer appeared, flawless and radiant, her designer dress shimmering under the harsh hospital lights. Michael, darling. I heard you were in the hospital, she exclaimed, though her eyes betrayed curiosity rather than care. Would Jennifer discover what Rose had done? And if she did, what would happen next? The morning sun streamed through the white curtains of Lagos Memorial Hospital, casting a golden glow on Michael, who lay weak but conscious for the first time in days. His chest rose and fell in slow rhythm as the beeping machines softened into a steady pulse. Seated quietly beside him was Rose, her eyes heavy with exhaustion, but her spirit firm. Her black uniform was slightly wrinkled, and her sleek hair was pulled back. She had barely slept since the transfusion. Every few seconds she would glance at Michael's hand, the same hand she had held during the long night of uncertainty. When Michael stirred and blinked open his eyes, she gasped softly. Sir, you're awake, she whispered, her voice trembling. Michael's vision blurred, but as it cleared, the first person he saw wasn't Jennifer. It was Rose. Her face was the first thing his recovering heart recognized. You've been here? He murmured weakly. Rose smiled faintly. I never left. He tried to respond, but emotion overtook him. His mind flashed to the doctor's voices, blood tests, fear, and then Rose's trembling hand as she offered her blood. He didn't remember every detail, but he felt her sacrifice. Before either could speak further, the hospital door swung open. Jennifer entered, dressed in a luxurious blue silk dress, her perfume filling the air before her presence did. She looked stunning, her frame exuding elegance and dominance. But her eyes carried that familiar calculating sparkle. Oh, baby, Jennifer exclaimed dramatically, dropping her handbag on the table and rushing to Michael's side. She leaned down, kissing his forehead tenderly, her diamond bracelet glinting in the light. You scared me to death. I was in Abuja when I heard. I caught the first flight back. Rose looked away quietly, her fingers tightening around the bed sheet. She remembered how Jennifer hadn't answered a single call during Michael's worst nights. Michael smiled weakly, reaching for Jennifer's hand. I'm fine now, love. Just tired. Jennifer brushed his cheek with her thumb. You're alive. That's all that matters. Then, noticing Rose's presence, she straightened abruptly. Oh, you're here too? Rose nodded politely. Yes, ma'am. I see. Jennifer cut her off, forcing a sweet smile. You've done enough. You can go rest now. I'll take care of Michael from here. Rose hesitated, eyes flickering toward Michael. For a moment, their gazes locked. Silent gratitude from him. Quiet pain from her. Then slowly she left the room. That evening, as the sun dipped low, Jennifer sat by Michael's bedside, scrolling through her phone while Michael watched her quietly. She didn't notice the way his eyes searched for something. Warmth. Care. Presence. Did the doctor say anything about when I can be discharged? Michael asked. Jennifer sighed dramatically. A few more days, I guess. You should focus on getting better, not asking questions. I just want to go home, he said softly. Jennifer leaned back, flipping her hair. Well, when you do, we'll celebrate. I've been planning our engagement dinner. We can reschedule it. Maybe Dubai this time. Michael smiled faintly. Did you bring the medication I asked for? Jennifer blinked. I forgot. But I'll get it tomorrow. She laughed lightly, scrolling through her phone. Oh, and please, I'll need another 5 million naira tomorrow. There's this charity event in Abuja. Michael nodded tiredly. Sure. Outside the door, Rose stood frozen, having returned with fresh water. Her heart twisted painfully hearing Jennifer's words. He nearly died and she's asking for money. But what hurt more was the realization slowly creeping into her mind. Had saving his life been a terrible mistake? The morning of Michael's discharge arrived with soft sunlight creeping through the white blinds of the hospital room. A nurse wheeled in the final set of forms while Rose neatly folded Michael's gray robe into a small bag. She was quiet, her movements gentle, as if afraid that even the sound of her footsteps might disturb his fragile peace. Michael sat on the edge of the bed, his strength mostly restored, though a faint weakness still lingered in his face. He glanced at Rose and for a brief moment their eyes met. A silent understanding of everything she had given for him. Gratitude swelled in his chest, though guilt followed close behind. Before he could say a word, the door opened. Jennifer swept in like a gust of luxury, dressed in a blue silk blouse tucked into fitted white trousers, her heels clicking sharply against the tiles. Her perfume filled the room. Finally, she exclaimed with a bright theatrical smile. My baby is coming home. Michael smiled faintly, though his eyes carried a distant look. Yeah, home sounds nice. Rose stepped forward holding the bag. Sir, I've packed your things. I also. Jennifer cut her off smoothly. That's fine, dear. I'll handle it from here. Rose froze for a moment, then bowed her head slightly. Yes, ma'am. Jennifer leaned close to Michael, brushing his cheek with her manicured fingers. You'll feel better once you're back in your own bed, love? Michael nodded, distracted. The nurse rolled his wheelchair closer and Rose quietly pushed it toward the door. Jennifer walked beside them, her hand resting possessively on Michael's shoulder, her expression proud as though she had single-handedly nursed him back to life. The mansion awaited them in all its grandeur. Polished marble floors, glittering chandeliers, and a sweeping staircase that seemed to glow under the afternoon sun. The scent of roses filled the air. Rose stepped in first, making sure everything was ready. The house had been spotless for days. She had stayed up late each night, ensuring everything would be perfect when he returned. Welcome home, sir, she said softly, bowing slightly. Michael gave a small nod. Thank you, Rose. Jennifer's gaze swept over the living room, inspecting every detail. Finally, this house feels alive again. She glanced at Rose, her tone sharp and dismissive. I hope you didn't move anything out of place. Rose blinked, taken aback. No, ma'am. I only cleaned as usual. Jennifer smiled thinly. Good. Because I can't stand disorder in the house or anywhere else. Michael sighed quietly, leaning against the sofa as Rose fetched a glass of water. Jennifer perched beside him gracefully, crossing her legs. You know, Jennifer began softly, turning to Michael. While you were in the hospital, I kept thinking how different things might have been if people around you hadn't let things get so bad. He looked confused. What do you mean? She shrugged innocently. Oh, nothing major. I just think your staff sometimes forget their place. Rose means well, of course, but she gets too familiar. Michael frowned faintly. Rose? She's been nothing but loyal. Jennifer's lips curved into a sad smile. That's sweet of you, Michael. But I saw how she looks at you. All those little gestures, the extra care. Sometimes loyalty has a different name, you know. Michael blinked, unsure how to respond. He didn't like the direction of her words, but Jennifer's voice was slow and sweet, dripping with affection and control. I mean, darling, she continued, leaning closer. She gave you her blood. What woman does that for her boss? Doesn't that seem too much? Michael hesitated. She did it to save my life, Jennifer. It wasn't? Oh, of course, Jennifer interrupted, brushing her fingers against his arm. You're kind. That's why I love you. You always see the good in people. But sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who overstep. He looked away, torn between what he felt and what he was being told. The words planted themselves deep, quiet seeds of doubt that would soon grow into something dangerous. That evening, the air inside the mansion felt heavier. Michael sat in the lounge, gazing into the fireplace, his mind distant. Rose entered with a tray of tea. Sir, she said gently. The doctor said you should take this before bed. He looked up, startled from his thoughts. Ah yes. Thank you. As she handed him the cup, her eyes softened. I'm glad you're home, sir. The house was so quiet without you. Michael smiled faintly. You've done well, Rose. I appreciate everything. Before Rose could respond, Jennifer's heels echoed from the staircase. She appeared draped in a shimmering navy evening gown, her hair styled in soft curls. Her eyes narrowed when she saw Rose standing close. Rose, she said, voice like velvet with a hint of poison. It's quite late. Shouldn't you be in your quarters? Rose straightened. Yes, ma'am. I was just what? Jennifer asked, stepping closer. Trying to play nurse again? Michael frowned slightly. Jennifer, please. She was only giving me tea. Jennifer turned to him, feigning a hurt expression. Oh, so now you're defending her? I'm not defending anyone. I'm just what, Michael? She said, her tone rising. You don't see how she's always around you, always watching you. You can't even breathe without her shadow following. Rose's eyes widened, her voice trembling. Ma'am, that's not true. Jennifer turned sharply. Quiet. I've had enough of your innocent act. The room filled with silence. The flickering light from the fireplace danced across their faces. Michael's torn expression. Jennifer's fury. Rose's quiet pain. Michael opened his mouth, stammering. Jennifer, baby, maybe you should leave her alone. She didn't mean. Leave her alone? Jennifer snapped. After everything she's done to manipulate you? I saw the way she looks at you, Michael. You think I'm blind? He swallowed hard, unsure what to say. Baby, please don't do this now. Jennifer's voice dropped low, icy and firm. I want her gone. Tonight. Rose's lips trembled. Sir, she whispered, looking at Michael. You know me. You know I'd never do anything to disrespect you or ma'am. Michael's voice cracked slightly. I know, Rose. He rubbed his forehead, overwhelmed. This isn't the time. Jennifer, please. No, Michael, she said sharply, standing tall. It's either her or me. The silence that followed was deafening. Michael froze. His mind screamed to speak, to stop it, but his heart, tangled in loyalty and obsession, betrayed him. He looked down, voice barely a whisper. Rose, maybe it's best if you go for now. Rose's heart broke at those words. Tears filled her eyes as she stepped back slowly. Sir, you mean you want me to leave? Michael's lips quivered. It's just until things calm down. Jennifer folded her arms, victorious. Rose looked at him one last time, her voice trembling. You said I saved your life, sir. And now you're letting her destroy mine. Michael's eyes glistened. I'm sorry, Rose. Jennifer turned away, pretending not to hear the pain. Rose picked up her small bag from the corner, walked to the door and paused. She turned once more, her eyes red but strong. May your heart one day see the truth, sir. And with that, she walked out, her black uniform fading into the golden hallway light, her shadow swallowed by the mansion's silence. Michael sat down heavily on the sofa, covering his face with his hands. The crackle of the fire was the only sound. Jennifer turned to him, smiling sweetly as if nothing had happened. Now, baby, she whispered, sitting beside him and resting her head on his shoulder. You can finally rest. But Michael's heart did not rest. It felt hollow, empty in a way no mansion, no wealth, no love from Jennifer could fill. The woman who had given him blood was gone, and the woman he loved had poisoned what little of his soul still felt alive. Would he realize his mistake before it was too late? In the weeks that followed, Michael continued to recover, but the mansion was silent now. Too silent. A house too large for two hearts that no longer beat together. He had resumed part of his work routine, though his energy came in waves. He would sit at his desk for hours, surrounded by contracts and reports, until the letters began to blur. No one was there to remind him to rest, to eat, or to take his medication on time. No gentle voice whispering, "Sir, please rest for a moment." He felt the emptiness of it all, but he refused to name it. Jennifer entered the study one late morning, dressed in an elegant wrap dress, her hair pulled into a sleek bun, makeup flawless. She carried her phone, 2 planners, and an energy that had nothing to do with him. "Michael, love," she began sweetly. "I've just confirmed the invitation to the Abuja Art Gala next week. We'll need to fly out by Friday." He didn't look up from his laptop. "Another one? Jennifer, you just came back from one 3 days ago." She smiled, brushing invisible dust off her sleeve. "That was for the brand launch, not a gala. You know how it is. Visibility keeps us relevant." "Us?" Michael's voice was dry. I'm barely standing straight, Jennifer. She waved her hand dismissively. Oh, Michael, don't dramatize everything. You're getting better. You look stronger already. Her phone buzzed. She ignored him mid-sentence to answer. Yes? Hello. Yes, I'll be there by 2 for the shoot. When she ended the call, she kissed Michael lightly on the cheek, not noticing that he didn't respond. I have to run, love. Remember to eat something. Then she was gone, her perfume lingering like an echo. That night, Michael sat alone at the dining table. The food Jennifer's assistant had ordered was untouched. Too spicy, too heavy, too foreign. When Jennifer finally returned home near midnight, her laughter floated through the hallway before she appeared, phone still pressed to her ear. Michael, you're awake, she said cheerfully. The event was amazing. Everyone loved my dress. He forced a small smile. You always look good. She poured herself a glass of wine, barely noticing his fatigue. I'm thinking we should plan a small feature with a magazine. Tell them about your recovery, our love, our strength. It'll inspire people. Jennifer, he murmured, voice low. Can't we just live instead of performing? She froze mid-sip, eyes narrowing slightly. What's that supposed to mean? He hesitated. I mean, maybe you don't have to attend every party, every interview. Maybe we could just spend some time together. Her laugh was sharp. Michael, I'm not some housewife waiting for you to heal. I have my own goals. He looked away, his throat tightening. And where do I fit in those goals? She didn't answer. Days later, a business associate called Michael with unsettling news. Mr. Michael, you might want to see this. It's about Jennifer. Michael's heart thudded. What about Jennifer? There's proof she's been involved with someone else. A socialite from Victoria Island. Private gatherings, photos. She's been manipulating you all along, sir? Michael's chest tightened. 2 nights later, he sat at his study desk, staring at photos and messages. Jennifer was laughing with another man in multiple photos. Her hand rested casually on his arm. Her smile was intimate, effortless. When Jennifer returned home that evening, radiant in a deep emerald gown, Michael waited. Her laughter faltered when she noticed the files spread across the desk. Jennifer, Michael's voice was calm but deadly. I know everything. Her eyes flickered. Surprise, fear, then a quick attempt at composure. Know what, Michael? He placed a photo in front of her. You've been manipulating me. Every gala, every trip, every late night. It was all to keep me under your control. Jennifer's lips parted, but she said nothing. You're gone from my life, Jennifer, Michael said firmly. No more manipulation. No more lies. She stepped back, shocked, but he didn't waver. After Jennifer packed and left, Michael sat alone, staring at the city lights of Lagos through the wide windows. He realized that despite her beauty, there had been no real care, no selfless love. Nothing like Rose's quiet, unwavering presence. Rose, he whispered. I have to find you. He began searching actively. Phone calls, inquiries, visits to clinics and hospitals. Days turned into nights of tracing every lead. Then a breakthrough came. Mr. Michael, this is Nurse Kayamika at St. Mary's Hospital in Lekki, a voice said. I believe you're asking about Rose. She works here as a caregiver. Michael's heart jumped. I need to see her. The next morning, Michael arrived at the hospital in a sleek gray suit. He followed the corridor until he saw her. Rose, kneeling beside a bed, gently adjusting an elderly patient's blanket. Her expression was focused and serene. Rose, his voice was soft but carried across the ward. Rose looked up, her eyes widening. Michael, she whispered. I didn't expect. He walked closer. I've been looking for you. I owe you everything. Rose rose, standing tall yet slightly wary. Michael, it's been months. He smiled faintly. How could I forget? You saved my life. And I had to find you. Over the following days, Michael visited her regularly, offering help, listening to her experiences. Slowly, the walls began to lower. By the end of the week, cautious trust mixed with growing affection. One late afternoon, Michael stood outside the hospital after visiting hours. He watched Rose walking toward the staff parking area, and his resolve strengthened. The next day he returned to the hospital, his heart racing. Rose emerged from one of the wards and he walked closer. Rose, he began, his tone soft but trembling. You saved my life when everyone else turned away. You gave me your blood, literally your life. And because of you, I'm standing here today. Rose blinked, tears forming. You don't owe me anything, Michael. He shook his head, pulling out a small velvet box. Her eyes widened as he opened it to reveal a delicate silver ring. For over 3 years you worked for me with so much grace. You cared for me when I didn't deserve it. You saved me not once but twice. From death and from a life without purpose. He took a deep breath. So I ask you, Rose, be my wife. Because truthfully this life is yours. You own it. Rose stood frozen, tears streaming down her cheeks. Michael, I never thought you'd ever see me like this. He smiled through his own tears. I see you now, Rose. I see everything you are. Yes, Rose breathed, her words barely audible but full of emotion. Yes, Michael. I'll marry you. He slid the ring onto her hand. At that moment, the hospital around them seemed to fade away until it was just the two of them, bound by gratitude, love, and destiny. Weeks later, a quiet ceremony was held in Michael's mansion garden. No extravagant guests, no noise, just simplicity and peace. Rose wore an elegant white dress, her hair sleek and graceful, her smile radiant. As they exchanged vows, Michael whispered, "You didn't just save my life, Rose. You became it." And as they kissed, the garden filled with the sound of rustling palm trees and the gentle hum of Lagos, sealing a love story born not from luxury, but from sacrifice, gratitude, and second chances. We've come to the end of today's story, and I hope it touched your heart. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe for more powerful and inspiring stories. See you in the next one.